How's it going, guys? So before we get started, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session tonight via Instagram live stream. So an hour after this video goes live, I'll be online on my Instagram at Vehicle Virgins answering any questions you guys have, whether it's regarding this video or just stuff in general or how to start your own automotive YouTube channel. I'll be there. So follow me on Instagram at Vehicle Virgins. Let's get to the video. I've driven this 2016 Mercedes S550 matic for the last year and a half, and I've loved every second of it. I leased the car, I put $10,000 down, and it's about $1,450 a month for 12,000 miles a year on the lease. The original MSRP on the car with options was $120,000. So what is it like to live with? Well, it's been absolutely flawless. I haven't had a single issue with the S-Class, and oh my God, is it a relaxing experience being behind the wheel of this car. Over the last 10,581 miles, I've averaged 16.5 miles per gallon. I drive the car a lot harder than your average luxury sedan owner, so that's probably in part why it doesn't get the best fuel economy. Although, for something that weighs 4,800 pounds, it's actually not all that bad. If you're curious, this S550 has a 4.7 liter V8, making 450 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. That's good to push the car from 0 to 60 in just 4.7 seconds. Pretty impressive for something this luxurious. It's got a 7-speed automatic transmission, which now for the 2017s is a 9-speed. But that's not what I love about the car. What I truly love is how relaxing it is to drive. I'm cruising right now with Distronic Plus on, which means it can guide itself between the lanes, slow itself, speed itself up with traffic. You barely have to even do any driving. Now, as a driving enthusiast, I love driving, but there's specific parts of your driving experience that you don't really want to have to do. For instance, I'm commuting right now to go drop this car off to get an oil change. I don't really want to have to pay attention the whole way on a crappy Michigan freeway. Of course, on back roads and stuff like that, that's where you have a sports car. I'm going down the highway right now with massaging seats on. I've even got the heated seat functionality activated. When I go around turns, the opposite bolster holds me in place so that I stay in the seat in the proper position. I've got tons of different massage settings, really thick glass that means outside noises are basically near zero. With air suspension, we've got two different modes, sport and comfort. In comfort mode, it rides over bumps better than almost anything else on the road, short of something like a Rolls-Royce Phantom. It just absolutely floats. I've nicknamed this car the Cloud because that's what it feels like. You're riding on a cloud. When you put it in sport mode for the transmission and the suspension, it gets a lot firmer. The car becomes more aggressive. And actually, the throttle response and paddle response is pretty good, but it's not really what an S-Class is for, is it? In the climate control settings is an air ionizer. We even have a perfumerator that vaporizes, atomizes the fragrances that are available from Mercedes so that when the particles land on your expensive luxury seats, it doesn't do any damage to them. That's fancy. I've driven this car over 600 miles in one day, taken it to the golf course. I've even drifted it off-road and drifted it through the snow. It really can do almost anything, except for lap a racetrack very fast. Although I have also driven this around a racetrack while in the snow. That was a hell of a lot of fun. As far as maintenance goes, it's been $0. Well, it's about to change. I'm on my way to the dealership that I bought this car from. Oil change, $210. It's pretty inexpensive when you think about the original cost of this car, 120 grand. So for a year and a half of owning this, only having to pay $210 in maintenance is pretty awesome. The new Mercedes are very, very reliable. I haven't had a single issue. It always fires up when I need it, and it's just an incredibly soothing experience behind the wheel of the S-Class. Which brings me to, Mercedes just announced that they're coming out with the refreshed S-Class in 2018. So the question is, will I switch to that when this lease runs out? Or even switch to it before the lease runs out? Let's go over what some of the changes they made for 2018 were. Now, this is a mid-cycle refresh, not a completely new car, but they have done some pretty substantial upgrades. The car I'm in right now is the S550 matic. In 2016, the S550 was the base trim with the V8. 4matic was an optional all-wheel drive that cost more. Now, for 2018, the base model is an S450, which comes with a 3-liter twin-turbocharged V6, making 362 horsepower. Honestly, I don't really think that's enough, and in a luxury car like this, I find that consumers, and certainly me personally, expect a nicer engine than a V6, something like a silky smooth twin turbo V8, or in the Maybach, a V12. The S550 has been replaced by the S560. Why they changed the name, I'm not sure, but now we've got a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 instead of 4.7, but it makes 463 horsepower instead of 450 and makes the same 516 pound-feet of torque. Of course, there's also the S560 Maybach, the S650 Maybach, the S63 AMG, and S65 AMG. Apart from the engine changes, there's some other alterations as well. We've got new headlights and taillights, a new front bumper. It looks a lot more like the current C63 and E63 than the previous generation does. Now, all of the cars truly look the same, and I've seen a couple comments that said they should just call the Mercedes small, medium, or large. I almost agree with that. We've got a new rear bumper as well. The front grille has been changed, and there are 2 more 20-inch wheel options. There are some noticeable interior changes as well. While I love the 2-spoke steering wheel design that's currently in the S550, they have ditched that for a much more complex, much more button-filled 3-spoke layout. It actually really looks nice, and they've got some functionality that BMW already has, which is gesture control, where you can change songs and change volumes without actually having to touch buttons on the steering wheel. How much people will actually use that, I'm not sure, but in order to keep up with the competition and not have consumers say, well, BMW has it, why don't you? They've included it. There's also new interior color combinations. Listen to this, silk beige with deep sea blue. That sounds incredibly fancy. We've also got magma gray with espresso brown and silk beige with mahogany. I mean, the digital instrument cluster and infotainment screen has been revised. Instead of having dual 12.3-inch screens that are separated via a piece of trim in the middle, we've got one giant piece of glass, very similar to what you have in the new Mercedes E-Class. Much sleeker design, love the way that looks. Also, 64 different ambient light colors compared to the peasantly 7 that are currently in this car. Damn it, only 7. I do really like a new feature they added, the energizing comfort feature. That allows you to program a bunch of customizable options in the interior at the click of a button. For instance, sometimes I just feel like cruising down the highway with cooled seats on, a hot stone rock massage at 68 degrees, with the purifier going, listening to Ariana Grande. I probably should have not admitted that to anyone. Never mind, forget about that. But if you were interested in something like that, you could activate all of that at one time. Shit. The biggest change, Mercedes says, is improved autonomous driving. Now with Distronic Plus, this car is able to steer itself within the lane, speed itself, slow itself down, but it's not perfect. Now we have active lane change assist, which clearly allows you to change lanes via Distronic Plus, but we've also got route-based speed adaptation. This controls the speed of the car via the navigation, so if it sees there's a really tight turn coming up, even if you're on the freeway and there's a speed slowdown, it will actually slow the vehicle down so you can go around the turn safely. That happens a lot on this vehicle. If you're going and all of a sudden there's a roundabout, you're gonna have to hit the brakes and slow down because trying to do it at the current speed limit is going to result in a disaster. But apparently now it can sense roundabouts and slow itself down. That's pretty awesome. There's also some pretty awesome new safety features. Pre-side impulse will detect a crash or a potential crash from the side and actually inflate the side bolster to push you up to 2.75 inches away from the accident. We've also got pre-safe sound, which was in the E-Class, that emits destructive interference noise out to protect your hearing in a dangerous accident. Of course, you're probably not super worried about your hearing if you're getting in a car crash, but it's nice that they're thinking a step ahead because obviously hearing damage is not a good thing. So will it get the new S-Class? Well, here's the big dilemma. I love how nice this car is to drive. Because I have a Lamborghini Huracan, I have a fun car, so I don't always need something super sporty. But at the same time, I do miss having something that is daily drivable, that's sportier and sounds really good. Emphasis on the sound. So I am thinking potentially, I could replace this with a 2018 S-Class, or a 2018 E63, which has the awesome drift mode where it can go from all-wheel drive to rear-wheel drive, or potentially the new BMW M5 that's yet to be released yet. So comment in the comments section below. Let me know what you think. A new Mercedes S-Class, potentially maybe an S560 Maybach or an S63, or an E63 or an M5. Let me know. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Vehicle Virgins for the live stream. I look forward to seeing you next video.